All right. Well, God's been dealing with me this week about just widening your circle a little bit, and you can't be so tunnel vision if you're going to widen your circle. And so it's been an interesting week because laid back Isaac is weird. So I'm just letting you know. You're going to get laid back sermon tonight. No, you're not. But it's been a weird week. My wife was gone for like 3 days, and I just want to say that moms are amazing. I did survive. I am here. Most stressful 3 days of my life. Yeah. The kids survived. I survived. It was good, but I'm so glad you're back, babe. Yeah. You can have whatever you want. Just go buy it. Thank you to Ken. I just want to say it's always nice when you surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. Yeah. And the problem with big tech behind us is you got to be smart to know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, you got to be smart enough to figure it out. And so we just are so thankful for Ken because he's smart enough to figure it out. So thank you, Ken. If it was up to me, we'd probably still have those old school projectors where like you put the slide on. Next slide. Yeah. Okay, nobody's as old as me. Come on now. Don't even lie. All right. Father, we thank you for tonight, God. We thank you for the chance to come and dive into your word. We thank you that your word is powerful and alive and sharper than any two-edged sword. And so tonight, as we dive into your word, speak to us tonight. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. All right. Before we get started, this chapter is kind of a weird chapter. I think, I don't know, maybe you guys disagree, but so far I haven't felt like Revelation is really that hard to understand. Like we just break it down super easy. This is probably the first chapter that I'd be like, okay, I could see how this chapter is hard because now we're into a place of basically, I don't even know what the word is, what scholars believe to be true. And so we saw 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we saw that we reached halfway in the tribulation, and it was like there was a pause, and it kind of went back and had shown what was going on in Jerusalem up to that point. And then last week, we saw again, it was like a pause, and it went back like all through time, all the way up to the Antichrist rising to power. And so tonight, this chapter is kind of similar. We're still in that weird halfway momentum where it's going to kind of cover past, present, and future in one chapter. And so it gets interesting. And so here we go. In Revelation 13:1, it says, we're on page 151 of your notes. 151, I think. 150. What? 151 of your notes. All right, Revelation 13, verse 1. Then I saw a beast rising up out of the sea. It had 7 heads and 10 horns, and the 10 crowns on its horns. And written on each head were names that blasphemed God. And so if you guys remember, so last week we saw that the beast was the Antichrist, and then we saw that the land represented Israel, and the sea represented the Gentiles, okay? And so, but here we kind of have a picture. Let's look at Daniel 9. We covered this quite a few weeks ago. But in Daniel 9, verse 26, it says, after this period of 62 sets of 7, the anointed one will be killed, appearing to have accomplished nothing, and a ruler will arise whose armies will destroy the city and the temple. The end will come with a flood, and war and its miseries are decreed from that time to the very end. So it says, after the appointed one, which we know is Jesus, is killed, appearing to have accomplished nothing, which we know is the cross. And it says, a ruler will arise whose armies will destroy Jerusalem and the temple. And we know, we kind of covered this already, that Emperor Titus did that in 70 A.D. And so it goes on and says, it is from this he will arise. And so there are scholars that believe that the Antichrist will come from Rome. And now keep in mind, Rome covered a lot of land, okay? So when you say it came from Rome, I mean, it covered all of Europe, parts of North Africa, Turkey. I mean, it covered a large space of land. But they believe that he's going to come from the area of the Roman Empire. And in Daniel 11, verse 37, it says, he shall regard neither the God of his fathers nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall exalt himself above all. Now, we're speaking of the Antichrist here, and it says the God of his fathers, and in the Greek, it is Elohim. So if you have a New King James Version Bible, it is a capital G. So it's Elohim, and so this suggests he has Jewish ancestry, okay? So they believe he's going to come from the area covered by Rome. He will have Jewish ancestry. Now remember in the book of Acts that everywhere that Paul went, he visited the synagogues. There was a remnant of the Jewish people everywhere he went, except for one place, if you remember, there was no synagogue, and he met people down by the sea because there wasn't even 10 Jewish people there you had to have 10 people to build a synagogue, okay? And so, but everywhere else he went, there was Jewish people. He would spend time in the synagogues. And so, if he is Jewish, he'll arise from the sea or the Gentile nations, okay? And so, one thing I want to point out, though, that the God of the Jewish faith is also the God of our faith. And so, he could possibly be of Christian or Catholic ancestry. So, we've got kind of an idea of where he's going to come from. And then it says the God loved by women. And in the Greek, it is hemda issa, which hemda is desire that which is desirable, and issa, women. Now, there's some scholars that believe, well, then he'll be gay. I'm going to show why I don't think that to be true, but I want to make sure that it's not what I think all the time, so I try to give you what the scholars believe. But it wouldn't surprise me if he was, because 100 years ago, remember how we said a lot of the things that take place in Revelation wouldn't be possible 100 years ago. But now you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't seem like that's that weird. But if you would have said that even 50 years ago, they'd be like, oh, no way. There's no way that would be true. And so, but what I believe this is saying is he will be above everything and above the need, your blank there is need, for everything. He won't need a woman. He won't need relaxed time. Anybody in here need relaxed time? Yeah, anybody in here, the vein in your forehead's about to pop because you're that stressed out? Yeah, he won't need it. He won't need it. He won't need religion or God. He won't even need coffee. Who is this man? He's got to be supernatural. I will not tell you how many cups of coffee I had this morning, but I started at 4 o'clock. So it's a lot. Okay? He won't have a need for anything. And so he's above it all. And so the 7 heads we already talked about last week. The 7 heads are believed to be the 7 world powers who have ruled over Israel. And so you can go back and study that, but it is Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medes, Persia, Greece, and Rome. And so, there's a better breakdown of it in last week's chapter. Brittany had put that together for me, so thank you, Brittany. That was really well done. And so if you didn't get last week's, just come and see us afterwards. I'm pretty sure they're on the Welcome Center. Still waiting for you. And so we already kind of looked at the 7 heads, but it'll have 10 horns. So in Daniel chapter 7, verse 23 through 25 says, "Then he said to me, this 4th beast is the 4th world power that will rule the earth. It'll be different from all the others. It will devour the whole world, trampling and crushing everything in its path. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will rule that empire. Then another king will arise from the other 10, who will subdue 3 of them, and he will defy the Most High and oppress the holy people of the Most High. He will try to change their sacred festivals and laws, and they will be placed under his control for a time, times, and half a time, which is 3.5 years. And so the 10 horns are future tense. So this is what I'm saying. This chapter is going to cover what has happened, where they are at, and where they are going. And so the 10 horns are future tense. They are the 10 nations believed to be who will rule the world. Now, these 10 nations will always blaspheme God. And it's possible, okay? Now, hear me out. If you guys remember when we did the breakdown and I showed you the map on the wall, and it was a third of the world will be destroyed, if you guys remember that. And so I believe it's probably where we're standing right now, because nobody in Book of Revelation's fighting over this piece of land. And so if all the Christians have been raptured and America's no longer a free nation, it kind of more fits where this is going, because it's possible that they are either Islamic nations, those that war against God's people, or they are hyper-liberal or socialist nations who are warriors against the things of God. So it makes sense. If the Christians are gone and America's gone, that's pretty much what's left. Go America, yeah. But it's hard to say exactly who this will be, because we don't know. Like, if you guys remember, as we go back, half the world is dead. You've got those who have been raptured. Half the world is dead, plus the people who were martyred. We have no clue who's left standing at this point, okay? So we don't know who the 10 nations exactly will be. But in verse 2 it says, this beast looked like a leopard, but it had feet of a bear and the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave the beast its own power and throne and great authority. So the dragon gives the beast, number 1, his power, number 2, his throne, and number 3, his authority. I apologize tonight. I went a little crazy on the fill in the blanks. I was going over it. I was like, wow, I did a lot of blanks on these pages. So write fast. That's all I'm going to say. So his power, his throne, and authority. And what kind of stood out to me was that we saw something similar to this in Matthew 4. In Matthew 4, Jesus is tempted with, number 1, authority. He says, command these stones to turn into bread. Show me what you can do. You tell them, be bread. He's tempted with power. Throw yourself down from this high point, and you're not going to get hurt. You won't get hurt. Show us how powerful you are. And then the last one is throne. His throne. Worship me, and I will give you everything you see. Jesus is tempted with the exact same thing, but what we see here is that even though Satan tempted Jesus with these, we'll see that the Antichrist will take the deal. What's really cool, we'll see next week, is that Jesus, the place where Jesus stood at the highest point of the temple and said, hey, look out, everything you can see, that location comes into play next week. And so, Daniel 7, verse 4, I know we're in Daniel, but it helps us explain where we're at in Revelation. Verse 4 says, the beast was like a lion with eagle's wings. As I watched, its wings were pulled off, and it was left standing with 2 hind feet on the ground, like a human being, and it was given a human mind. Then I saw a second beast, and it looked like a bear, and it was rearing up on one side, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. And I heard a voice saying to it, get up, devour the flesh of many people. Then a third of these strange beasts appeared, and it looked like a leopard. It had 4 birds' wings on its back, and it had 4 heads. Great authority was given to this beast. Then in my vision that night, I saw the 4th beast, terrifying and dreadful and very strong. It devoured and crushed its victims with huge iron teeth and trampled their remains beneath its feet. It was different. I won't say different. It was different from any of the other beasts, and it had 10 horns. It was different. So some scholars believe that we're looking at history, and then we're looking at things that have yet to come. Okay? And so scholars believe that the lion is Babylon. The lion represents Babylon. The bear represents Persia. And the leopard is Alexander the Great. And if you know anything about Alexander the Great, when he died, his 4 generals divided his empire amongst them, and so his empire was split into 4. And so the leopard in this had 4 heads. And so in Daniel 7, let's look at verse 7 again. It said, "Then in my vision that night I saw a 4th beast, terrifying and dreadful, very strong. It devoured and crushed its victims with huge iron teeth and trampled their remains beneath its feet. It was different from any other beast, and it had 10 horns." The 4th beast will look like Babylon, Persia, and Alexander the Great, but it will be different. How? So let's go back to Revelation verse 2. I know, we're in verse 2. Don't worry, we'll speed up. Either that or we'll be here all night. I know, just kidding, we won't. Look at verse 2. The beast looked like a leopard, but it had feet of a bear and the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave the beast its own power and authority, power and throne and great authority. It is different than Babylon, Persia, and Alexander the Great, because the beast, the Antichrist, will give it power and authority. It'll have power and authority. It'll be supernaturally have power and authority. And I know people get into it like, oh man, there are terrible people of past, and I'm sure they were demonically driven, but not like this. It'll not be like, it'll be different. It'll be like those, but different. And so, in verse 3, I saw one of the heads of the beast seemed wounded beyond recovery, but the fatal wound was healed, and the whole world marveled at this miracle and gave allegiance to the beast. So the Antichrist will appear to die, whether it be an assassination attempt, probably shot in the face. He will appear to die. And in Zechariah 11:17, it says, "What sorrow awaits this worthless shepherd who abandons the flock? The sword will cut his arm and pierce his right eye. His arm will become useless and his right eye completely blind." And so it's possible it will wound his eye and arm. He will die but recover or be healed. Your blank is healed. And the world will marvel, your blank is marvel, and give their allegiance to him. You guys still with me? So we've already said that there's going to be great deception during this time on earth. But the thing is, if you guys remember from last week, the world will acknowledge Jesus. They're going to say, okay, Jesus is real. They're going to watch the 2 witnesses get up and ascend to heaven. But then the Antichrist is going to get assassinated and come back to life, and everyone's going to be like, whoa. He's pretty awesome too. I don't know what it is. Everyone cheers for the guy with the eye patch. It's so weird. I don't even know who that governor is in Texas. I don't know. I just like him because he has an eye patch. It's just so cool. But it will be obvious who is who. And so the world will acknowledge Jesus, but the Antichrist will convince them to align with him because they will marvel at how powerful he is. I want to remind you that when we get there, when we get to the Battle of Armageddon, people will not be surprised when they see Jesus coming. They have picked a side. And they have been deceived to believe that the side they picked has the power to defeat the one on the throne. And so, verse 4, they worship the dragon for giving the beast such power. And they also worship the beast who is as great power, who is as great as the beast, they exclaim, who is able to fight against him. And when the beast was allowed to speak great blasphemies against God, he was given authority to do whatever he wanted for 42 months, which is 3.5 years. Okay, so we're still at halfway point. It's been 3.5 years. Remember, when seal 1 was broken, he was told to come. And so, the beast will show his great power, and it will be faith in what you can see, but there's going to be great deception. People will marvel, your blank is marvel, and praise. Your other blank is praise the dragon and beast, which is Satan and the Antichrist. The Antichrist will openly attack God. And so, there will be no more confusion on which side you will choose a side. And so, verse 6, then he spoke terrible words of blasphemy against God, slandering his name in his dwelling, that is, those who dwell in heaven. And the beast was allowed to wage war against God's holy people, which is Israel, and to conquer them. And he was given authority to rule over every tribe and people and language and nation. So I believe this will be the moment where the world is praising him, is where he will gain power over the 10 nations. This will create the one world government. One government is your blank. Now, I want to point out here that, everything we see going on in the world right now is the setting the stage for all of this to happen. But you won't see one world government before the rapture. Okay? So you guys can calm down, I know. And if you're like, yeah, but we're close. Yeah, then get ready because we're out of here. Verse 8, and all the people who belong to this world worshipped the beast. They are the ones whose names are not written in the book of life that belongs to the Lamb who was slaughtered before the world was made. In the Greek, this verse is really interesting because in the Greek it reads, the Lamb that was slain from the foundation of the world. So it's saying that God had a redemptive plan before he created the world. You blank there's redemptive. He had a redemptive plan before he created the world. Think about that for a second. God had a plan to save you before he ever made anything. Yeah, but I'm not important. Well, clearly you are, because he had you in mind before he even made the world. Oh, yeah, but I'm just here by mistake. There are no mistakes. God doesn't screw up when he makes people. He knows who you are. You're not here by accident. Before he ever made anything, he planned out a whole redemptive plan for you. And it said all the people who belong to this world worshipped the beast. Your blank is beast. They are the ones whose names are not written in the book of life. Okay. So we're seeing here, what we're seeing here, and we're going to see in the next few chapters, is that we have reached the point of no return. Okay, it's very clear who's who. And so I want to tell you tonight that there is a redemptive plan for you. And it is not too late for you to begin to follow the plan that God has for your life. But those that miss the rapture will reach this point if they haven't died already, and they will be given a choice. And you can't, nobody really knows where people are at. This is like the heart. One of the hardest part about being a pastor is that your heart breaks for people, but who knows? I don't know really where they are. I mean, you hope. But when we get to this point, it says those that take the mark will not have their names in the book of life. And then the next sentence is a very serious call to listen. And it says in verse 9, anyone who has ears to hear should listen and understand. This is a call to the Jewish people to endure persecution and remain faithful. We're going to get there in a second. But real quick, Joshua 24:15 says, but if you refuse to serve the Lord, then choose today who you will serve. But as for me and my house, we serve the Lord. Men in the room, be the leader of the home. As for me and my house, we serve the Lord. I say what is, if there's something that's not of God, it's not in my house, it's my house. Come on. It's time to lead the home and say, as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. We need to set the example and say, this is who we will be as a family. Your kids will follow you where you go. Your kids will be a product of who you are. It's scary sometimes because when I'm tired, I'm done. You can ask my wife, I'm done. And she has to pull me aside and be like, calm down. Because my boys are watching. And so, choose who you're going to serve. Now notice, it is the same call to make a choice that was given to the churches in Revelation chapter 2 and Revelation chapter 3, and all of them said the same thing. It said, anyone who has ears to hear must listen to the Spirit and understand what he is saying to the churches. You're blank, there's churches. The only difference between chapters 2 and 3 and here is that it doesn't mention the church because the church isn't there. It is a call to listen to the Jewish people. And so, verse 10 says, anyone who is destined for prison will be taken to prison, and anyone who is destined to die by the sword will die by the sword. This means that God's holy people must endure persecution patiently and remain faithful. See, don't get into like predestination on me. What it's saying is this: if you choose the sword, then you're going to die by it. If you're going to choose the beast and be captive and bound by sin, then you're going to be bound by it. If you're going to choose Jesus and make a stand, then guess what? Prison's coming for you. To choose is to endure and be faithful. You think it's hard now? Don't miss the rapture. If you can't live for Jesus now, what makes you think you will die for him later? And so, those who miss the rapture and choose to endure persecution and remain faithful are destined for prison and death by the sword. Prison and death is your blanks there. All right, verse 11. Then I saw another beast come up out of the earth. He had two horns like those of a lamb, but he spoke with the voice of a dragon. And it says, he exercised all the authority of the first beast And he required all the earth and its people to worship the first beast whose fatal wound had been healed. He did astounding miracles, even making fire flash down from the earth to the earth from the sky while everyone was watching. And with all the miracles he was allowed to perform on the behalf of the first beast, he deceived the people who belonged to the world. He ordered the people to make a great statue of the first beast, who was fatally wounded and came back to life, and was then permitted to give life to the statue so that it could speak. Then the statue of the beast commanded that everyone refusing to worship it must die. I did not have time to do types and shadows tonight, but I will tell you right now, read the story of Nebuchadnezzar and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Types and shadows, types and shadows. Okay. If you miss the rapture, you will more than likely have to die for what you believe, and your blank there's die. So let's recap really quick. Make sure everybody's with me. The dragon is Satan. Your blank is Satan. The beast is the Antichrist. Your blank there's Antichrist. And the second beast with two horns, like the lamb, but the voice of Satan is the false witness. Now, what I want to point out to you tonight real quick is that the enemy always tries to duplicate what God is doing. And so we'll see here at the end there will be an anti-trinity. The dragon, the beast, and the false witness. So the false witness, I believe this person will have control over all media, all is your blank, all media outlets, all internet content, and possibly all technology. And so, he has the same authority, your blank is authority, as the Antichrist. It says he'll make a mandate for everyone to worship the Antichrist who was healed from his fatal wound. He will pass laws. I don't know if you've noticed what's going on right now, but what's funny is there was a leak, and now the media is going to try to sway how the law will be passed. That's weird. Doesn't happen any other way that way, but okay. He will show the world, and they will watch. Your blank is watch. His miracles. He will be controlling the media. He deceives, your blank is deceives, the whole world on behalf of Satan. And he calls for a statue to be made of the Antichrist, and the statue will come to life. So let's pause right here. Now remember, before I talk about anything right now, remember that the how doesn't matter, the what does, okay? We know what the what is, but we don't know the how, because John, if he is shown everything, lives in 95 AD where there is no technology, and he's going to describe to us right now what's happening. Okay, so the how isn't as important as what. And so we're going to get that in a minute. But I believe personally that there's going to be another technology jump. Anybody in here has lived through a technology jump that you would not have believed if you were told before it jumped? Pretty much everyone over the age of 20, right? I remember, this is like 20 years ago, I had a flip phone. And I remember, I thought it was so cool because my flip phone was like the new one. And I had the ability to save a photo. And when you called, your picture came up on a screen this big. Anybody? Nobody? Anybody remember those? Yeah. Who had the brick phone? Let's just be honest. Okay. Man, we thought that was cool. The other day, my wife showed me a TikTok video of somebody she knows. I think it's somebody you know. Did you know? I don't know if you know the person. And they took an Uber taxi. Do you know that person? Or is it just... Okay, Candace showed it to us. And they took an Uber taxi, and they get in the Uber, and there's no driver. a driverless car. Nope. Getting out of this. I try to sit in the driver's seat. Then the car stops. In the video, the car stops, and a voice comes over and says, "Sir, you need to put your seatbelt on." "How do you know I don't have my seatbelt on?" He says, "Sir, we can see inside the car." Please go back to flip phones. So much easier. When you used to get a phone, you had to manually transfer all your contacts over. Yeah, that took all day. Yeah, that's like 9 hours of my life I'll never see again. You got now technology. You go from flip phones, and now you have technology. Some of you guys might have it in the room. You have technology where you can lock your house from the seat you're in right now. You can see in your house from the seat you're in right now. Flip phones to driverless cars. And that wasn't a big span of time. I believe there's going to be another technology jump, and this is why the how is really hard to really discuss, because we don't know where technology is about to jump. And so, this is I do want to show you a little bit of scary, though, in it, is that if we do go all electric cars, and they say, "Hey, mandatory lockdown," your car ain't going nowhere. "Oh, mandatory lockdown? Just wait for the next technology jump. You're locked in your house. You can unlock it from your seat. They can too." Unlock, lock, unlock, lock. "Well, I guess we're not going anywhere today." If we go to digital currency, there's no money. Yeah, all that's frozen. Yeah, you're not spending anything today. My watch, okay, like, don't get me wrong, like, I have to have my watch because my wife's like, "You never answer text messages," so she slapped this on my wrist. It's like a answer my text message. Oh, I have a text message. Because I, like, literally anybody get the pocket vibration? And then you quit checking your phone because you know it's not real, and then it was. Okay, and just me, apparently, okay. Yeah, okay, thank you, Carter. All right, so, but one day, just like a couple of years ago, before I got rid of all social media, like Facebook and everything, and so I was at a conference, and I told Pastor Nevin, this is before he was the pastor, and I said, "Hey, aren't these cool? These wristbands, they're not rubber, they're elastic. We should do this for the amp." The next day, I got on Facebook, and there's an advertisement for customize your own elastic wristbands. Thank you, God. Scary. See, and all of it would be controlled by the false prophet and the Antichrist and Satan. There'll be a mandatory worldwide day of worship where you will have to sign in to worship the beast, or you won't be able to get back in your house, your car won't move, and nothing will work. You will not be able to go shopping because your accounts will be frozen. And so, verse 16, now that I bummed everybody out, it gets worse. All right, here we go. He required everyone, small and great, rich or poor, free or slave, to be given a mark on the right hand or the forehead, and no one could buy or sell anything without that mark, which is either the name of the beast or the number representing his name. Wisdom is needed here. Let the one with understanding solve the meaning of the number of the beast, for it is the number of man. His number is 666. So, there'll be a mandate enforced to take a mark in order to buy or sell. Now, remember, this will be then, not now, But that's why when they try to make a mandate for you to take something that maybe you didn't want to take or you can't enter a business, it gives everybody the heebie-jeebies. Like, I don't like that. Don't like that. And so, the technology being developed right now, the laws being discussed right now will make this possible. It doesn't say that the Antichrist creates a system. The system is already there. We created it. There you go. Take it and run, buddy. And so, it says that wisdom is needed here. Wisdom would be to watch, your blank is watch, and be aware. Aware is your blank. Not to have tunnel vision that it must be a certain way. This is why the how doesn't matter. We're going to look tonight at the what, not really the how. But I will say this. I don't believe that it will be a chip or a credit card. Well, first of all, I don't need a credit card to buy anything right now. I can buy right now using my forehead. What are you talking about? Thanks to the mask mandate, the facial recognition now can get your permission to unlock or use by using your eyes and forehead if the rest of your face was covered. A chip would be old technology. And so, I can buy and sell right now with the approval of my thumbprint. My right hand can approve whether or not the purchase is made. My right hand actually unlocks my work laptop. I don't even put a password in. I go like this, and it unlocks. And so, before we move on, not to bum everybody out, the coincidence maybe, the symbol on the back of my phone is the symbol for the original sin, the fall of man. I know what you're saying. Go Android. No, that definitely is of the devil. I've tried it. Not doing that again. Whew, that was a rough contract on that phone. All right, here we go. But it's not about the how, but more the what. And so tonight I just want to look at the what, okay? Because we can get into all night of what the mark is. Number one, the mark of the beast will be the name of the beast or the number representing his name. So beast and number is the blank. It's not going to be your credit card number. Owning a credit card and going shopping will not disqualify you from heaven. What will disqualify you from heaven is rejecting Jesus. It's not going to be a credit card. You will have to reject Jesus to take the mark. Number two, the mark of the beast will be a public declaration that the beast is God and a rejection of Jesus as king. God and Jesus is your blanks. We talked about this last week. You will not be tricked into taking the mark. You're not going to be tricked into it. You will know exactly what you're taking when you take it. Okay? It's not the vaccine. Everybody calm down. Okay? You're not getting tricked into it. You're going to know. You'll be given a choice who to serve, the beast and live, or Jesus and watch your kids starve. Number three, the mark of the beast will be a mark, not a hidden chip under the skin. Hidden and under is your blank. It'll be a public declaration of loyalty to the beast. If it was hidden and under the skin, how would anybody know you had it? Unless there's a technology jump and every doorway I walk through, all my information comes up on a giant screen and lets everybody in the room know that I'm here. Nothing came up. He must not have the chip, the hidden chip that nobody can see. It's a public declaration of your loyalty to the beast. And anyone without it will be persecuted. All the people out there refuse to do the masks. Man, did you get dirty looks when you went to the store. Yeah, wait till this. They don't have the mark. Sir, we're going to have to ask you to leave. You're not allowed in here. It's for the safety of everybody. You think we're bullied into silence now? Just wait. It's a permanent tattoo. I don't know. I mean, again, the how isn't it's the what. It's permanent. It's a weekly mark received by attending mandatory worship. Bless you, child. I just want to show you something. Again, I'm not going into the how, but I do want to show you something real quick. The Hebrew, 666 in the Hebrew, looks like this, which is also the symbol for. I knew Red Bull was better. I knew it. Calm down. The monster drink is not the mark of the beast, but I just thought I would show you that just to get everybody talking this week. Yeah. Red Bull only, people, okay? Red Bull only. Oh, man. But I will say this while that's up on the screen. If it isn't a permanent tattoo, I would say it would be something that lasts until the next mandatory worship. And with the fingers of the priest, he would bless you on the forehead. I don't know. That's just what I think. The how doesn't matter, though. The drink is delicious. Okay. All right. 1 John chapter 2, and we're going to be done. I'm 3 minutes over. Sorry, I got carried away. You guys are having way too much fun, so I wasn't paying attention. So I'm writing to you, not because you don't know the truth, but because you know the difference between truth and the lies. Who is a liar? Anyone who says that Jesus is not the Christ. Anyone who denies the Father and the Son is an antichrist. An absolute rejection for truth sets the stage for the Antichrist. What's happening now in our nation is an absolute rejection of truth to be replaced with what I desire it to be. I'm going to hand it over to Pastor here in a second. But I want to say that teaching personal desire is a scientific fact. Political bullying to get desired results sets the stage. And I want to point out it's being set, so get ready. But my challenge for you tonight, I would never take that mark. If you can't live for Jesus now, why would you watch your kids starve? You wouldn't. And so we're going to see next week a lot of information about the harvest and the good news. And man, I want to tell you that we're running out of time, and we're living in a day and age of the truth is unheard of. Like, I've never heard this stuff before. And I want to challenge you to be bold, because you're running out of time, and there's going to come a day where people will be standing before God and they'll look at you and say, why did you never tell me? Do you realize what I had to go through just to get here? And so tonight, go and stand with us as Pastor comes up and closes service.